Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Chasing the Whimsy. I am here with
Liam
and
Megan.
All right, today we have a special episode as we are on location. We are at Tuscon50 in Tucson, Arizona. This is my first con.
I can't believe it. I honestly can't.
He's like the nerdiest person I know. He's never been to a con.
So we're going to go ahead and talk about our day a little bit, but before we do that, we were able to snag a legendary member of the film industry. He's going to come and hang out and talk with us for a little bit. Director and special effect makeup artist Robert Kurtzman. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. This is super exciting. So tell our listeners a little bit about what it is that you do, because I know Megan and I are familiar with your work. Liam, we just had a Halloween episode, so we were deep diving into, obviously, Halloween horror movies. And then we watched Tusk, and we love Freddy Krueger. He made our list of our top 10 or top 3 horror villains. And for me, it's always interesting when you look at all these different figures and just realize, like, you never know who's behind the makeup artist. So what is it that exactly that you do?
Other than directing films, I'm primarily a special makeup effects artist, but I also do regular makeup as well. So what's called a department head. Yeah. So me and my wife, Marcy, we run makeup departments on movies. So preferably ones that have special effects involved as well. So
what was the one?
No rom-coms or?
Well, no, not really. I mean, I kind of like to have something on the other side,
right.
A little more challenging to do.
A little more fun.
Yeah.
What are some of your highlights of your career? What are some films that some of these people might have seen?
There's a lot. From Dusk Till Dawn, Wishmaster, which is a film I directed.
Wishmaster.
God, all kinds of stuff. I mean, weird stuff like Jingle All the Way. We did the superhero suit on Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's Spy Kids movies.
Oh, okay. So you kind of dabble a little bit in all genres?
Yeah. We've done a lot of comedies too. Okay.
Where's your heart lie? What genre do you like?
Well, of course, the horror sci-fi genre always has more challenges, but you could have a show with just age makeups or something in it. What I mean? So, and I've done a lot of animals over the years. So, Dances with Wolves, we did the Mechanical Buffaloes in, and we've done big. Like spiders. There's a movie called Spiders where we had to build giant spiders. So it really depends. And we've done giant crocodiles, and we did a film called Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. We had to make mechanical crocodiles for stuff like that. But lots of stuff over the years. So
when did you first start?
I started in 1984. I was 19, 20 years old.
So you're coming up on 40 years.
Yep.
Oh, that is fantastic. That's a very long career. That's fantastic. Let's see. So we talked to you a little bit yesterday. You work with Kevin Smith. You did Tusk. Anybody who hasn't seen Tusk, it's kind of definitely a way out there movie.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? Justin Long basically gets transformed into a walrus. How challenging was that to come up with that walrus suit?
Well, the challenge was doing it in the amount of time that we had. I think we had maybe 6 weeks to
Kevin
do
Smith,
all the effects on it,
Because Kevin Smith likes to just go through it in just really short shoot times.
Well, it was 6 weeks to prep for us, but the shoot was only like maybe 4 weeks, like a month or something like that.
Okay.
So, the challenge there was, first coming up with the design, but that because of our time frame, we kind of, after a few conversations with Kevin, it was pretty easy to come up with what he had in his mind, right. Which was like a Leatherface Texas chainsaw stitched together, kind of a flesh suit.
Right.
So so that was easy to springboard off of, and then we did some sketches, and then jumped right into doing the sculptures, which were pretty. I mean, it's a full-size suit, walrus suit, that he has to climb into, and so it took about a little over 3 hours to get him in. The makeup itself, the face makeup itself, was a couple hours, and then he had to crawl into the bodysuit, and then we had to attach him into that, and then we had magnets that held the tusks on. That way he could, because otherwise, if they were on, he wouldn't be able to get his head through the small hole because the tusks were so long. So, and then he wore it for, I don't know, he was probably in it for a week of shooting, 5 days or something.
All right.
In and out. So
yeah, it was a weird film when I saw it when it first came out, and I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. I'm like, I like it, and I like it's something with the eyes, just like because it looks weird and goofy, but the work you do with like maintaining the actor's eyes was like, oh, okay, now I can see Justin Long in there, and like now it kind of like comes together a little bit. I was like, that's kind of.
Yeah, it was funny because Justin's a great guy, and he said he's so looking forward to getting this makeup on and doing this, and I said, well, after you do it one day, you're not going to say that, but okay, so yeah, because once he's in it, he's basically laying down on his stomach and doing push-ups all day, with his arms, and so we'd have to roll him over just to get a rest, so he wasn't, holding himself up all the time. In
full costume, so you got a walrus rolling him back and forth. How much does that thing weigh?
Oh, I don't know what it weighed. I mean, it was latex, but it was reinforced. It was probably a good 50 pounds.
Oh, wow.
With everything. There was different versions. We had one that had to float, be buoyant for him in the water, and that was made with a certain kind of foam inside, the kind of like the kind you make the little noodles out of for swimming pools type of thing to keep it floaty, and then we had the dead one under the water that we had to construct and drop into the.
Is it hard working with water and makeup?
Yes, it sucks. Yeah, there's always an issue with
You're like, did you have to pick a walrus? Could it just be like
a bird?
Yeah, but.
All right. Liam, you got any questions?
So I'm looking at your little poster over there, and I see like this one person with a Jason mask. Did you do something with Jason?
We did Jason Goes to Hell, which is one of the Friday. Was it part 8? I can't remember.
8 or 9. I think one of them.
8 or 9. Yeah.
So you just get better at it, honestly.
Yeah, my good friend Adam Marcus directed that. I also did another film with him called Secret Santa that actually is coming out on Screambox this month.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
The one with the Santa, and it's like a horror movie kind of too?
No, it's a dysfunctional family comedy horror film set at Christmas with a family that doesn't get along. So, yeah.
Very cool. Let's see what else. Yeah, so, are you big on the con circuit? Are you semi-local, or are you just traveling around, just making the?
It depends on certain times of the year, and I do several a year. But this year, because of the strikes, I've been open to doing more because I have nothing else to do. So it's like, I'll do it. Because the one thing I don't like to do is book a con and then find out we're on a job and we can't. We have to cancel. Mm-hmm. So I'm very selective sometimes, But.
What have you been up to since the strike?
I've been doing original oil paintings of different concept designs I've had over the years and stuff. I did a couple on The Haunting of Hill House makeups that we did, and anyway, just that's what's keeping me busy.
All right.
So
kind of just branch out.
Aside from like the home improvement projects.
I was gonna say, is there anything that you do that's like not the most artistic thing ever?
Oh yeah, like we'll landscape or.
I think I was reading something with solar.
Oh, I did a solar shower. to go out behind the studio for summer.
Okay.
Where it's got, it's a solar heated water tank, outdoor shower.
That's
cool. Yeah, that's cool.
That's got to be like all involved for you because like I imagine when you're like, oh yeah, they're magnetic tusks and like that kind of problem solving lends itself to like doing home improvement and everything.
Yeah, well,
like that.
luckily with that kind of thing, home improvement stuff, I just look at someone online and go, let me take a look how they built that solar shower.
He does it the same way as we do, folks. He just looks it up on YouTube.
Exactly.
Me 10 times a day.
I did it, although I built it in a day. She went away for the day. She had to go to Columbus, Ohio for the day. And so I was like, I got to get this shower done before she gets back.
Yeah.
Total surprise her, So like she got back and I had a whole thing built. Now all I had to do was put the plumbing in the next day. So
Must have been a nice surprise.
Yeah. She's like, what the hell?
Did you have to go to school for makeup artist?
I did. I just took this was back in 1984, so I took a 12-week course. At that time, there wasn't really a lot of special effects involved in the course. It was some crude effects things, but it was mostly corrective and beauty makeup at that time.
Okay.
But it got me in the door. I was always an artist. I grew up doing art and sculpting, and I had pretty amazing art teachers in high school. And the Kloppensteins, they were really two brothers. One ran the wood shop portion, one ran the art portion, And and my mom was an artist, still is, a watercolor artist. So, and she had a lot of friends that painted in different mediums, like oil and watercolor and charcoal, and they did.
Right.
So in the summer, I would take lessons from all those different artists.
Okay.
And she would.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
So I learned a lot.
Like another little school.
Yeah. And initially, when I got out of high school, I went to art school in Columbus, Ohio, art college for 1 year, and I dropped out, and I moved to LA to do makeup effects. So.
And then right after that's when you lived with, knew Quentin Tarantino for
No, I
Hustle
didn't.
Dawn?
I didn't live with him. No. I met him that would have been years later, like more in the like 90.
Okay.
80, 89, 90. At that point, I'd already started KMBFX Group with Greg Nicotero, Howard Berger, and the first 5 years out there, I freelanced and juggled from shop to shop, different effects guys.
Okay.
So, and eventually started our own company at KMBFX at the time, and then I wrote the treatment from Dusk Till Dawn, and then my friend John Esposito was going to write it. He right now writes and directs on Creepshow, and he wrote a Stephen King movie called Graveyard Shift. And at that point, he had to go work on set for the Graveyard Shift movie. So we decided to try to find a writer to flesh out the script from my storyline, and someone recommended Quentin to us, and at that time he's still working, at the video store.
Right.
But he sent sample scripts to me, and we hired him, made a deal, and then after that, KMB just started doing the effects on all Quentin's movies. So we did
cool.
Reservoir Dogs and
Kill Bill,
and all that. So.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
It's funny because Liam's 13, so when we talked to a couple of people, they mentioned when he gets older, he can watch some of these movies. I'm like, no, he's seen most of these things. Anything Quentin Tarantino, Kevin Smith, and all that early 90s indie film.
Yeah.
He's kind of big into those movies. So it's kind of fun to meet someone who's worked with Quentin and Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith, he talks about doing a Tusk 2. If he ever does decide to do a Tusk 2, are you gonna?
I expect that I would get the phone call, but I don't know.
I don't know I have no idea what the script will look like.
I have no idea either, so I'm sure I'll be surprised.
Right. I would assume, like, obviously you'd keep some things similar to one, but are you excited? Are you like
No clue.
Do you like innovating? Like,
Oh, I would definitely.
Across
I
different-
wouldn't want to just do the same thing again. So,
you're gonna-
and I don't think Kevin would either. It'll probably be some sort of
gotta challenge
hybrid or
yourself a little
something.
bit,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh.
So,
Yeah, how does that work if you like working on multiple like parts of something like at Friday the 13th? Like, do you try to harken back to what you did before, or you really want to reinvent the whole thing?
Well, obviously, when it comes to like Jason, you can only do so much. Like when we did Jason, the concept was that the mask was fused into his flesh, so that's why we have that growing in. So I guess with every filmmaker, they try to do something, tweak it a bit, but you can't really tweak it too much. Like, for instance, we did Pumpkinhead 2, and we couldn't really do much with it. The only thing that restricted us was the size of the actor going in the suit, so it's a little bit bulkier than the first one.
Right.
But it really is kind of the same look, you know.
Right. Well, so with like Freddy Krueger, you did Dream Child 5, and then you also did Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah.
So similar,
yeah.
but it was nice because there was you could tell that there was a differences between it, but you still
Right.
knew it was the same character.
Right, but on those, let's see, I'm trying to think who did 5. It might have been Dave Miller. Dave Miller definitely did the makeup in New Nightmare. On a Nightmare movie, a lot of times there'll be 2 to 5 makeup effects companies working on it.
Okay.
Especially when it's
Your hands, your face, your neck.
like because there's different sequences
Oh, okay.
and people change into different things or get
Yeah.
killed off in different
okay.
ways. So there's like an effects crew just for that particular sequence.
Okay.
Oh, especially with like Freddy, because
yeah.
he like transforms into different
Yeah,
stuff.
and the way they shot those, then they would have maybe several units running at the same time. So like Robert Englund would go from one stage to another, and they're shooting an entirely different scene with a different effects crew. So it's a weird way of making movies, but that's what it was.
Right.
So
I had one. Is there any IP that you haven't worked on that you would love to work on? Universal Monsters.
oh well, of course, everybody would love to tackle the Creature from Black Lagoon.
Right.
but
Yeah.
It's really hard, of course they'll probably do some stupid CGI thing, but
Right.
But that one's a hard one because there's been a couple suits created that really are great, like in Monster Squad, and
Right.
and of course The Shape of Water. So
that was such a good movie.
Yeah, so it's like trying to tackle that would be challenging, but that's one of my favorite like creature suits of all time. So.
I personally like a nice makeup, like costume and effects. Are you seeing, with the age of technology and digital, are you guys losing like jobs, or is it based on like
No,
the director, where you got your Quentins and your Kevin Smiths that like a little bit more?
Yeah, or
authentic?
your Guillermo del Toro's,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
but where Guillermo uses as much physical effects as possible, and then what can't be achieved he'll do in digital.
Okay.
But what's great about the crossover having both is now you can do like The Shape of Water, you can have a really tight-fitting makeup that would normally not have room for eye mechanisms and things because it would have to be built out so much to do that. Now you can do something and have digital eye blinks
Okay.
and digital eye movement so that it's a great combo for that.
All
So-
right. Oh, okay. That would be interesting because,
Yeah, so they could be married, but
yeah.
you want to get it to the threshold of what you can do physically, because it does look better physically. Like it just, I don't know. There's something about CGI that
You can see.
you don't
CGI.
believe it as much.
Right. Well, the good stuff is when you can't tell, when you don't even know it's there,
Right.
And
Like I
there's
never
a-
would have noticed would
Yeah.
even thought about the eyes blinking when like, all right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Is there anything that like you've ever made that you feel like didn't get the attention maybe it deserved, or you worked really hard on something and
No, I mean, there's some there's things sometimes you wish to maybe that design didn't quite work or whatever, but sometimes it's okay, like the way it's photographed and the way it's hidden, like if you like, believe it or not, like we were doing I worked on Aliens as a mold maker, and they had pulled out the original suit that was used in the first film at Stan Winston's, and they opened up the box, and it was kind of a stinky, rubber suit. Excuse me, with really crudely fabricated, like with corrugated plastic tubing and like buttons and macaroni glued to it, you know what I mean? So, and what was amazing, it was so crudely made, but then it's the way it was shot.
Right.
And it just looked amazing, So
like you look at it and you're like,
yeah,
fantastic. But you're like, that suit is a mess, but you got what you got on film looks fantastic.
So I feel like I have to go watch and zoom in.
You'll never see anything though.
Buttons and macaroni.
And they cover it with slime, and stuff. So, sometimes you come up with something, and it doesn't necessarily need to be extremely complicated or detailed in order to achieve what the director wants, depending on how it's utilized.
Right.
It may only pop up for a few seconds,
Yeah. Well, that'd be crazy, working on something for days and days, and it shows up in the movie for like 2 frames.
Well, that's normally what happens all the time.
Right.
So, like we did this thing for Haunting a Hill House's Mr. Smiley character that was what the girl sees in her head, and it's barely on screen,
but it's something you remember,
and the gory stuff usually is the stuff that gets cut, but these days, man, everything's kind of, you can get away with so much more than we were getting away in the 80s.
Oh, for sure. Like, because so many different platforms too, where like you now no longer have to stand behind like the APA so much, and you just like Netflix will take it, and they'll they're a little bit more lax on whatever content they're putting out, and kind of give a little bit more freedom. I think, what else? You got anything else, Liam?
I'm just really interested in your work, and you've done a lot, and I thank you for doing all those movies and stuff.
It's been a pleasure.
Well, we thank you for having us on. I'll let you get back to your table, but we appreciate you taking the time. Anything you want to plug?
First off, if you want to go to the website, it's robertkurtzman.mufx.com. And this weekend on Paramount Plus and Showtime is a TV series called The Curse, or Curse.
Curse?
Yeah. It's Emma Stone, Nathan Felder, and Benny Safdie. Okay. It's a dark comedy that's actually getting some cool reviews, and it's got some, I can't talk about what's in it that we did.
Right.
Actually, it's got some of you in it.
There's some stuff we've done in it, but it's not really a horror thing, but it's got some like horror undertones.
Will we notice it when we see it? So when we watch it, we're like,
oh yeah, but anyway, check it out. I actually can't wait to see it because I heard good things. So
very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you have a good rest of the day at the con, and we'll hopefully see you at another con soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Well, listeners, that was Robert Kurtzman. Fantastic. Liam, what do you think of that guy?
Very interesting, just hearing him talk about some of the movies he's done. And
40 years, man.
And you can tell that he likes some movies, and you can tell that he dislikes some movies, like some he didn't mention a lot, and there's some that he mentioned a lot.
Yeah, I don't know, it feels like sitting next to like an iceberg. Because like he can tell a story, and you're like, I bet you there's 40,000 stories still held under there.
Oh, I know.
And you're just like I just want him to keep talking, but I also don't want to take up all of his time.
Right. I mean, we have the contact info. Maybe we can we'll do it like
Kurtzman Part 2.
Kurtzman Part 2. We'll just do a timeline. We'll just go through the list of everything. But that was a very cool interview. I didn't think we came to the con. Didn't think we were going to get we're going to have some fun, record some stuff that we had going on.
We'll talk about more of it next week.
Yeah, so next week we'll go ahead and we'll ask Megan back if she can.
Yeah, I'll be there.
And then we'll kind of just go deep dive on Tuscon50.
Whimsy.